On this week's episode of 420 Central TV, we covered exclusive interviews, curated informative content, had some product review, and don't forget our weekly green news. Stay in touch and keep involved on 420 Central TV.
Good afternoon to you and to you and to you. I'm sitting here with two of my colleagues and we've got some really interesting work ahead of us, which is to taste and test the new samples for Madonna Crush. And because we've got a new range of Madonna Crush coming onto the market. So we're going to, without further ado, open one or two cans, pass it around, give some commentary back, and let you know at the end of it what we suggest and what we think should be the products to be carried forward to production. I like that, it's a nice sound of CO2. We've got a red berry as well. We can't have too much. We'll probably settle on 3 for this afternoon. And we've had a discussion around the medicinal. And when I talk medicinal, I'm talking about the chamomile and or the green tea. Not so much the red berry and rooibos. Rooibos is a lot more sort of acceptable in the drink space, but the chamomile and the green tea, the discussion went as follows, is that we feel that, cheers gentlemen, hold on to it for a seckie, that we feel that the chamomile and the green tea, both from a taste point of view as well as just the concept, is this has got to be a recreational space. This is a space where people have grown up on sweet cold drinks, brutal fruits, and a whole lot of other beverages that are in the sweets space. And they tend to be a little bit more hip and a little bit more fashionable in the flavor range rather than the chamomile or the green tea range. So the consensus is to look into the berry, mango, watermelon space, and that's probably what we're going to try this afternoon. So let's give it a smell first. Well, let's give it a cheers first.
Salud.
Light on the nose.
Yeah, really nice smell. Well, I personally think it's a very nice taste. And one thing that I've always picked up with the Madonna drinks is that it doesn't have an aftertaste from the inception, so it's nice to know that even the development of the product doesn't have an aftertaste. It has a fizziness to it, and then the bubbles also, I mean, instead of them creating extra gas in your stomach, they all dissolve on your tongue, and I appreciate that.
I have to second that. For me, I've mentioned in one or two of the other clips that the CO2 just makes a much better mouthfeel. It's a fuller mouthfeel, it's quite crispy, and again that soda feeling in your mouth is I think adds a little bit more than a flat drink or specifically an iced tea that's got no CO2.
Yeah. Well, me on my side, I remember I once mentioned this is, well, can I just begin on this sweetness profile? Somebody might think because it's mango, it might be heavily sweet, but it's not that sweetness that makes you feel like, hey, can you please get me a cup of water just to cleanse your mouth, so to say. So the sweetness is not overpowering. And the second thing I'd like to mention specifically on the CO2 side is, well, I'd prefer maybe a little bit of some more crisp in regards to the CO2. I feel like it's a little bit flat, but other than that, the flavor profile is je ne sais quoi.
I like the fact that the one or two others that I tasted were a little bit sweet. I mentioned they're not sickly sweet, but they were a bit sweet. Whereas this one for me is actually not tasting. It's not overpowering from a sweetness point of view.
Yes.
And I think that the CO2 part is really going to be a difficult one to nail specifically, because it's the difference between Mike saying that it can end up bloating you or giving you an uncomfortable feeling versus the right flavor or the right effect within your mouth. That's got a good sound to it.
Yeah.
We'll get you a mixed berry tropical. See, so it pours, and it's able to pour with a nice head, which again is just reflective of the CO2 level. And let me just say to you, with a little bit of head, you get a much better nose. Give that a smell. See how the bubbles actually make the flavor on the nose. So that's the one we're testing. Madonna crushed mixed berry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I find that, and I'm not sure if it's just because of the fact that we've created the bubbles, but that's got a much bigger tone to the nose. You can smell it much better, eh? Agree?
Certainly, and at the same time, it's also, for me, I'm a big fan of vanilla. So it reminds me of like a vanilla type of taste.
It's got a vanilla taste. Are you tasting that at the end, or is it consistent in the taste?
Maybe it's in the name regards to mixed, but it's the berry flavor also intertwines with that vanilla taste. So it just creates, how can I put it? It has a luscious taste. That's the more I put it like that.
Personally, what I'm picking up, adding on to what Mash is saying, is that you can literally taste the different ingredients.
Yes.
You can taste that there's a body of ingredients that was added to this particular drink. So the mixedness, you literally get it with the taste profile that, it's a nice combination and a very nice balance. You don't get an overwhelming berry or an overwhelming vanilla taste, as much as Mash is saying. So I must say.
Okay, so just to nail that from a point, the mango is single flavor mango. You can taste that coming through. Whereas this here, the term mixed is you're getting a multiple amount of flavor coming through.
Yes.
Yeah? It's a bit sweeter than the mango.
Yes.
I certainly felt that. It's a full flavor, and I think that's where you're getting the mixed berry idea of you can taste multiple flavors in there, and potentially that's what carries through a little bit more sweetness. Okay, so we decided we were going to go with, we've done a berry, we're going to go the watermelon.
Let's do that.
Right, let's do that. Watermelon's up. Okay. Nice CO2 content. And then I wanted to say just now about the mouthfeel and the fizziness. Possibly it felt less fizzy because by pouring it and creating a head, I'd let a certain amount of the fizziness out straight away. Yeah. So just to be consistent with the first one, I'm not gonna make it too fizzy or pour too hard. You'll hold off until we've all had a little bit of oh wow.
It smells like real watermelon.
Right.
It smells like the watermelon bubble gum.
So there you go. Positive on the nose straight away.
This is the least.
He's a little bit worried with his whole sugar cup of tea, number of teas. So we'll hand it over to you, Mike. What are you going to give us in terms of, first of all, not just the sugar, the flavour?
I think in terms of the flavor profile, it would work best with females, you know. Not to say that I would understand what females would appreciate, but in terms of such an open flavor and a sweet flavor, it's something that a lady would enjoy, because I mean, even from just saying that it smells just like the watermelon bubble gum chippy, and a lot of women do like that bubble gum chippy, so I think this one leans more into women more than males. I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't go for a watermelon.
Okay, thank you so much, from Mike. Mash?
What I love to say is the sugar content is not overbearing, and at the same time the flavor profile for me, it's well bodied in the sense of it really goes around your mouth, has a nice refreshing taste rather than it's just a sweet drink.
Cannabis has been a source of income for the people in this area for a long time, feeding families and putting their children through school. But the drive towards commercialization is making rural farmers anxious. If they are left on the periphery, their communities will suffer the most.
It's very interesting that government is showing more interest in cannabis, but I can tell you now, I am no longer going to benefit from what government is proposing. Yes, maybe my grandchildren will. I am an ex-miner. I quit my job and I joined the cannabis business.
I am a cannabis farmer. I was raised up by cannabis income. My parents were poor, and I also decided to follow their footsteps because there's no other way of living. I was trading cannabis in Cape Town. I was once arrested on my way to Cape Town. I served my sentence in Lusikisiki because of cannabis.
President Ramaphosa said in his address, the cannabis plan includes reprioritization of departmental budgets and support for the traditional black farmers. The police will also be aligned with the regulatory reforms. Organized cannabis advocacy groups also demand an inclusive approach.
This is our own hope, our own life. Joblessness and poverty is on the rise. Cost of living is high. I am a proudly cannabis farmer because I got married through the money raised by cannabis. I am looking after 10 school-going children, not mentioning the many great-grandchildren that are also benefiting from the cannabis money. This cannabis is a lifesaver for us here, and we will continue using it as our source of income.
The value and benefits of the plant are well known. It also holds spiritual value for some.
So I think for me, it's very vital and key, economically and health-wise. But now what we need to check as poor people, where are we going to match with government or rich people? Because when you check now, it's free because there were certain highly people who pushed the matter to be free. But that time of us, we were like, go boycott, ganja, cannabis must be free.
We plea even to our chief there in the countryside, no Payana Eslalin, that not to give these people land for yeah, for their own investment, you know, because what they're investing is for themselves. You see, it doesn't benefit our poor black people, you know.
Small-scale cannabis growers also want relevant government department to start engaging rural communities about the forthcoming changes for the industry. Kululeko Nyembezi, SABC News, Bondoleng.
Aaron, also just you've got a really nice collab coming on at one of the oldest markets. I mean, I remember it from being a youngster, absolutely, and there was nothing quite like it or to touch it. And you're reviving. Can you tell us a bit about what's happening at the Rosebank?
So it's quite interesting because back in my youth, I used to trade. I had a business called Creations, and I had these wonderful candle stores and fairy stores and very cool like holistic lifestyle stores. Right. And I used to trade at the Blumenau Flea Market. And I used to trade at the Randburg waterfront, and so I was involved in the market industry. I also did little stints at Global Village, the guys who actually own the Blumenau market. So I got a special place in my heart for markets. One of our collaborators, Claire, is an Ayurvedic practitioner. She runs a stand at the Rosebank market, right. And she's become more and more friendly with the organizer. And the organizer, what happened is Rosebank market became a tourist market.
Absolutely.
It really went from being a local market to a place to bring your tourists.
Yeah.
And then COVID came along, tourists dried up, and then it became reborn as a local market. But the local Joe Burgers haven't gone back. Right. You know, we've gone to other markets, but not back to Rosebank. So the organizer of the main market was saying, you know, what she wanted to do was drive traffic back to Rosebank. And in her mind, she said, let's build what we call an esoteric fair. So they came through our partner who's there. We had a meeting, and I said, you know, esoteric. It's very yesterday.
It is a bit.
It's very yesterday. Like, we don't really do esoteric anymore. We've got a lovely buzzword called wellness. Yes. So let's create a wellness hub. Now, as you know, you've been to some of our Vision Lane events. Yes. We have an area in Greenside, the mothership, called Oz, your Centre of Unlearning. And there we have Vision Lane, where we are involved with the cannabinoid system, Ayurveda, herbalism, and we've been having these events called Wellness Days. And you've come to one or two, yes, and the public come down and engage. But we found that since COVID, and specifically with the lockdown, Joe Burgers seem to be depressed. And it's not easy to get them to move. They're like just depressed. So we thought, why not take this Vision Lane concept and the Wellness Days concept, and let's take it to the Rosebank rooftop market. So there's a team of about 6 of us. Right. We started 6 weeks before. We said, okay, let's give it our best shot. And we pulled off a very successful wellness hub. So what the wellness hub is all about, it's a hub of wellness where you can go down, you can basically buy product, CBD, Moringa, other wellness products. You can meet practitioners and therapists, practitioners and therapists in wellness, and you can also listen to talks. Right. And we had a stage where we did engaging talks about the endocannabinoid system, talks on meditation, on holotropic breath work, and we wanted to create an area that will help channel people from the mall into the hub and through to the market.
And did that work?
It worked so well. It was a great success.
Can I ask you, do you think that events like this and collaborations like this are helping us to destigmatize?
Well, I think that these events are vital. We need to plug on to existing events. So, for example, when we take the Wellness Hub and we plug it on the Rosebank market.
I love what you're saying, because you're not going and separating out of, you're overlaying into places that are accepted spaces already.
And then you're being sensitive to what's happening there. So in other words, this is a family-friendly environment. Yes. So the exhibitors were invited on board as CBD exhibitors. So we specifically stayed away from THC, anything psychoactive, sure, and created an environment for people to come and learn about CBD and cannabis wellness in conjunction with moringa and other plant-based medicines.
Right. And then how do people get involved?
So basically, through the green side, just talk to us. If you go online, the next event is on the 4th of June. So we've got our next event. So we are going to, there is a Wellness Hub event at the moment. We're going to set up our next event pretty soon. There's a gentleman by the name of Deepak. He's an absolute honey. He is the guy to talk to. Stands are inexpensive, from about 1,000 Rand to 1,700 Rand. We've also added on marketing opportunities for our exhibitors. We've realized that a lot of these people are small businessmen and women that have jumped out of, they don't know as much as we might know. So not only are you trading, but you're also getting Facebook posts, other value added. So it's much more than just a once-off event.
Myron, just in closing, what advice have you got for people that would like to become involved in the cannabis industry?
And that's such an important question, that, and we're sitting in South Africa, we have load shedding, we have high unemployment, and people, you hear the only way out for young people is do something. Do your own business, to do something. Don't be a Justin Bieber person and think you're going to get fame on TikTok, but do something real, So in the cannabis industry, it's so broad. So first step, get education. There are quite a few cannabis educators. Go out there, get some education, do some courses, learn about cannabis. Then go find someone to work for a little while. Go work for, there are plenty of cannabis places, the new place open every day. Go somewhere and say, you know what, would it be okay for me to work here? Pay me whatever you want to pay me, but I want to learn. And become a sponge and go learn. When you finish learning, then find one thing that you are passionate about, one thing, and take that one thing and then build a business plan around that one thing. And people, don't be so focused on THC. THC is THC Delta 9, one of 100 cannabinoids. There's so much to be focused on in the cannabis industry. So I would say to you guys, young people, old people, everyone, get involved. The cannabis industry is just beginning. Idea El Presidente is putting a lot of energy behind it. They're going to make it easier and easier for us. People are awakening to cannabis. So get out there and start your cannabis enterprises, but don't think you're going to make money. Don't think that there's a green rush. Don't think that you're going to wave a wand and you're going to just make money. And find some OGs like us.
So go and get your fingers green. Go and touch on the soil. Go and find out what it is. As Myron says, make sure that you find something you're passionate about. Go and learn. There are a lot of people that are offering education. Engage with them and find your passion.
I want to just give you guys a shout out, because I've watched this program of yours from infancy. I've watched you guys bumble along, and I've watched you become more and more professional. So well done, Big Mark. Well done to you. Well done to your entire team. And every Friday when you send it to me, I'm so happy to watch it. I'm proud of you guys, and I'm proud to be on you. I'm proud to be collaborating with you, and I'm proud of all of our people, because we are a wonderful bunch of people.
Gratitude, man.
Nice one, my brother.
Thanks, Billy.
Cool.